Before your peace breaks, something small always happens first. A message pulls at you, a memory wakes up, a voice in your head says, answer this, prove this, fix this, carry this. And just like that, your whole day bends around something that never deserved that much power. Listen carefully, because this is where most people lose themselves. Not in one huge disaster, in 1,000 tiny leaks, in constant tension, in giving attention to what keeps taking and never gives life back. If you stay with me, this may change the way you protect your energy forever. You are not tired only because life is hard. You are tired because too many things are feeding on your focus. Too many people have keys to your mind. Too many habits know how to enter without knocking. And if you do not close those doors now, what drains you slowly will one day rule you fully. So take a breath. Be honest. Not dramatic, not emotional. Honest. Look at your life as it is. Look at what steals your calm, what shortens your patience, what weakens your discipline, what makes your spirit heavy. Because the moment you see it clearly, the moment you stop decorating what is harming you, your freedom begins. Every day the world asks for your reaction. Every day something throws a hook into your attention and waits for you to pull. The more you pull, the deeper it stays. You call it responsibility, you call it loyalty, you call it love. But many times it is not love, it is entanglement. It is you staying attached to things that make you smaller. You check the message that tightens your chest before you even open it. You reply to the person who remembers you only when they need something. You return to the same thought that poisons your morning before your feet even touch the floor. You scroll through lives that make you feel late, less, behind, not enough. You explain yourself to people who already decided not to understand you. You carry guilt for choices that were needed. You carry anger for someone who already moved on. You stay loyal to habits that are slowly damaging your focus, your health, your money, your peace. Then you ask why you feel empty. But you are not empty because you have nothing. You feel empty because your energy keeps leaking out into places that do not deserve it. Remember this line, energy is life. Where your energy goes, your future follows. If your energy lives in chaos, your future will feel chaotic. If your energy lives in fear, your future will be shaped by fear. This is why protecting peace is not laziness, it is leadership. Detachment is often misunderstood. People think detachment means becoming cold, distant, careless, hard. No, real detachment is not the death of love. It is the death of confusion. It is not pretending you do not care. It is learning what deserves your care and what only consumes it. It is not running away from work, family, love, responsibility, or effort. It is refusing to donate your life force to what keeps weakening your mind. A bitter person detaches through anger. A wise person detaches through clarity. That difference matters. Because when you see clearly, you do not need revenge. You do not need a dramatic ending. You do not need a speech, a scene, a final performance. You simply stop feeding what feeds on you. This is a quiet power, and most people never reach it because they still believe peace will come when everything outside becomes calm. But life never promised that. People will still talk, problems will still appear, plans will still fail, the body will still get tired, the mind will still produce fear. Life will keep knocking on the door of your attention. Peace is not when life stops knocking. Peace is when you stop opening the door to everything. Read that with your whole mind. Not everything deserves entry. Not every issue deserves your emotion. Not every noise deserves a response. This next part matters, so stay with me. Much of your suffering continues not because it is powerful, but because you keep negotiating with it. You already know some things are draining you. You know the relationship is pulling you away from yourself, but you call it loyalty. You know the habit is cutting your discipline, but you call it comfort. You know the argument is pointless, but you call it standing your ground. You know the environment is damaging your ambition, but you call it belonging. You know the old version of you is gone, but you keep visiting that old life and asking why it cannot breathe again. That is not kindness to yourself. That is self-betrayal in slow motion. The first step is simple and hard at the same time. Stop lying about what drains you. Stop making it deep when it is obvious. Stop making it complicated because you are scared to act. Your body already knows. Your sleep knows. Your focus knows. Your nervous system knows. Notice what happens after you leave certain people. Notice what happens after an hour on certain apps. Notice what happens after you break your routine. Notice what happens after you say yes when your whole inner world is saying no. Your energy always tells the truth before your mouth does. But many people ignore the report because the truth asks for action, and action costs comfort. There is a tiredness sleep cannot fix. It comes from living against yourself. It comes from smiling while your spirit is exhausted. It comes from forcing connection where there is no respect. It comes from chasing approval from people who do not even approve of themselves. It comes from building an outer image that looks fine while the inner world is crying for silence. Detach from the need to be understood by everyone. This alone can free half your mind. Some people are not confused. They are committed to their version of you. You explain once, then again, then better, then softer, then louder, then with proof, then with emotion. And still they twist your meaning. Why? Because your clarity is not their goal. Their story is. You cannot heal a conversation with someone who benefits from misunderstanding you. So if your intention is clean and your actions are honest, stop standing in the courtroom of other people's opinions. Let them talk, let them guess, let them create stories if that is how they spend their life. A person hungry for gossip will eat anything. Do not become food. Silence is not weakness. Many times silence is the moment your dignity returns. But silence feels hard because the ego wants the final word. The ego says, make them see, make them regret, make them know you were right. The ego wants outside victory even if it creates an inner war. Discipline asks a better question. Is this worth my peace? Most things are not. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not need to correct every wrong opinion. You do not need to answer every emotional storm. You do not need to prove your growth to people who only knew your weakest season. You do not need to perform healing for an audience that enjoyed your pain. Leave with precision, not loudly, not bitterly, just clearly. There is power in walking away without turning your exit into a show. That kind of silence is not passive, it is trained strength. Some people feel drained because they are secretly addicted to emotional noise. When life gets calm, they become uncomfortable. When someone treats them with consistency, they become suspicious. When there is no chaos, they create it in their own mind. They say they want peace, but their body has been trained for storms. So when peace arrives, they mistake it for boredom. This is why detachment is not just a thought, it is body training. It is nervous system training. It is teaching yourself that calm is safe. Teaching yourself that distance is not abandonment. Teaching yourself that not reacting does not mean you lost. Teaching yourself that being unavailable to drama is not arrogance. It is maintenance. A garden does not apologize for having a fence. Your life needs a fence too. Without boundaries, your energy becomes public property. Anyone can walk in. Anyone can plant fear in your soil. Anyone can leave noise in your mind. Anyone can take from you and call it closeness. Then you look at your life and wonder why nothing beautiful grows there. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are structure. They are the walls that protect what matters. What you allow repeatedly becomes the atmosphere of your life. What you consume repeatedly becomes the pattern of your thinking. What you tolerate repeatedly becomes your standard. What you chase repeatedly becomes your master. So look carefully at what you chase, because whatever you keep running after is often what is controlling you. Stay here, because this is where the chain gets exposed. Some people chase love. Some chase validation. Some chase status. Some chase money. Some chase attention. Some chase the past. Some chase people who are not drifting away by mistake, but by choice. And the chase drains them because it places their worth outside themselves. Every chase sends the same message to the soul. I am not enough unless I catch this. That is why your peace starts depending on a reply, a result, a number, a compliment, a sign. Your inner stability ends up in the hands of something unstable. That is a dangerous trade. Work hard, yes, Love deeply, yes. Build, create, serve, improve, yes. But do not chase like a starving spirit. Do not leave your center to beg life for crumbs. What belongs in your life may still require effort, but it should not require self-destruction. Many people fear loss, so they refuse to let go. But they never ask the sharper question: what am I losing by holding on? You fear losing the person, yet you are already losing yourself. You fear losing the image, yet you are already losing your truth. You fear losing the opportunity, yet you are already losing your health. You fear losing the comfort, yet you are already losing your future. Sometimes holding on is the real loss. The hand that never opens can never receive. The mind that never empties can never see clearly. The heart that refuses release cannot heal. You say you want new energy, but your life is full of old attachments. You say you want peace, but you keep entertaining the same voices. You say you want a new beginning, but you keep sleeping next to old emotions. Detachment often starts with one uncomfortable sentence: "This is not good for me anymore." Simple, direct, no drama. This conversation is not good for me anymore. This habit is not good for me anymore. This place is not good for me anymore. This version of me is not good for me anymore. This fantasy is not good for me anymore. This anger is not good for me anymore. This waiting is not good for me anymore. But once you see it, you must respect what you see. Clarity without action becomes a new form of suffering. Many people are not confused. They are just afraid of the discomfort their truth requires. They want change without friction, peace without discipline, freedom without loss, healing without stepping away from what hurt them. It does not work that way. Freedom has a price, and the price is the old attachment. You cannot carry everything into your next life chapter. Some habits cannot come. Some conversations cannot come. Some pleasures cannot come. Some excuses cannot come. Some identities cannot come. That is why the door is narrow. It forces choice. Many fail there. They want transformation, but they still want approval from the old environment. They want strength, but still feed weakness in private. They want growth, but still want comfort from the same patterns. This is why real change feels lonely at first. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because what used to fit you no longer does. Keep listening, because the next move is the one that gives you your power back. Start with your reactions. Every time something disturbs you, pause before you obey it. A message arrives, pause. An insult appears, pause. A memory rises, pause. A craving shows up, pause. Fear starts speaking, pause. The pause is where freedom begins. Without it, you are a puppet. Something happens and you move. Someone speaks and you burn. A thought appears and you follow. A desire rises and you kneel. Then you call it personality, but much of it is programming. The pause cuts the string. In that tiny space, ask better questions. Is this mine to carry? Is this mine to answer? Is this mine to fix? Is this mine to believe? Most things that drain you collapse under honest questions. Not every feeling is an instruction. Not every fear is a warning. Not every desire is wisdom. Not every memory deserves a room in your house. Not every person deserves access to your inner world. The mind creates noise all day. You do not have to bow to every sound. Detach from the idea that every problem needs your emotional participation. Some problems need action, not anxiety. Some need patience, not panic. Some need distance, not discussion. Some need acceptance, not endless analysis. You exhaust yourself because you confuse worry with care. You think if you suffer enough in your thoughts, life will reward you for being concerned. It will not. Worry is not devotion. Worry is imagination used against yourself. If you can act, act. If you cannot act, breathe. Anything beyond that becomes self-punishment dressed as responsibility. There is also an addiction many people never admit: the addiction to being the hurt one. Pain can become an identity. People repeat the story so many times that the wound becomes their name. What happened to them becomes who they are. They protect the injury because without it, they do not know how to stand in the world. But hear this clearly. Your wound may explain you, but it must not lead you. Yes, you were betrayed. Yes, you were disappointed. Yes, you gave too much. Yes, you lost time. Yes, you were not seen when you needed care. That pain is real. But how long will you keep drinking poison just to honor the wound? At some point, healing asks you to stop making pain the center of your personality. You are allowed to remember. You are not allowed to live there forever. Memory becomes a prison when you visit it more than your present life. So take the lesson and leave the weight. Take the warning and leave the bitterness. Take the wisdom and leave the chain. A person who hurt you once can keep hurting you for years if you keep rebuilding them in your mind. Your anger feeds them. Your replaying feeds them. Your imaginary arguments feed them. Your hope for their apology feeds them. You say you want to move on, but your attention keeps inviting them back in. So when the old movie starts again, interrupt it. Say to yourself, I already know this ending. Then come back. Back to your breath, back to your body, back to the task in front of you, back to this moment. That return is not weakness, it is training. Training matters because a distracted mind does not really detach. It only jumps from one attachment to another. Today it is a person, tomorrow it is fear, then comparison, then regret, then desire, then a fantasy. The object changes, but the slavery stays. So sit quietly sometimes and watch your own mind. You will see how restless it is. It wants stimulation, it wants stories, it wants a problem to chew on. It wants anything except stillness. And at first, silence may feel uncomfortable. Good, that is not failure, that is diagnosis. Silence reveals how noisy you have become. Many people never truly meet themselves because they are never quiet long enough to notice what lives inside them. There is always music, video, messages, movement, plans, chatter, scrolling, consuming. They fear stillness because stillness shows the truth. It shows the exhaustion, the scattered focus, the need for approval, the emotions that were never processed, the habits that keep stealing power. But you cannot release what you refuse to see. So sit, breathe, watch. Do not fight the thoughts and do not chase them. Let them pass like weather. A cloud does not need your anger to move. A thought does not need your obedience to fade. The more you observe, the less you identify with every passing feeling. That shift changes everything. Sadness is here is very different from I am sadness. Anger is here is very different from I am anger. Fear is here is very different from I am fear. That small distance creates space. Space creates choice. Choice creates freedom. Detach from comparison because comparison is theft wearing the mask of motivation. You look at another person's life and punish yourself with incomplete information. You see the result, not the sacrifice. You see the smile, not the private battle. You see the success, not the cost. You see the relationship, not the hidden distance. You see the body, not the discipline or insecurity behind it. You see the money, not the emptiness or the years of work. Then you use their surface to attack your depth. That is not wisdom. That is self-harm with extra steps. Your path is not late because someone else reached something sooner. A seed does not hate itself because the tree is taller. It simply keeps growing. Do not use timing as an excuse, but do not use someone else's timing as a weapon against yourself either. And detach from applause. Applause becomes dangerous when it turns into food. If people cheer, you rise. If people ignore you, you collapse. That means they control the button of your spirit. Take it back. Do the work because the work is right. Keep your word because broken promises to yourself destroy confidence quietly. Train your body because your body carries your life. Guard your words because words shape your inner world. Clean your habits because a messy inner house cannot hold peace for long. You do not need an audience for discipline. In fact, discipline without an audience is often the purest kind. Build in silence for a while. Foundations are underground. They are unseen, but they hold up everything above them. Now listen closely, because this part saves years. Detach from people who only respect your absence after abusing your presence. There are people who value you only when you stop being available. They call when they need, they disappear when you need, they drain your patience, then accuse you of changing when you finally become quiet. They confuse your kindness with endless supply. Do not become angry, become educated. When someone shows you how they handle your heart, learn. When someone shows you they only love your usefulness, learn. When someone shows you your boundaries offend them, learn. The lesson is not to hate them. The lesson is to stop volunteering for the same pain. Compassion without discernment becomes a target. Compassion does not mean endless access. Compassion does not mean rescuing people from the consequences of their own choices. Compassion does not mean bleeding so others can feel warm. You can care and still create distance. You can forgive and still not return. You can understand someone's pain without allowing their pain to become permission to hurt you. That is maturity. And detach from saving people who do not want responsibility. You cannot breathe for another person. You cannot wake up for another person. You cannot heal someone who is loyal to their excuses. You can offer a hand, but you cannot become their legs. You can tell the truth, but you cannot force ears to listen. You can love someone, but you cannot live their life for them. If you keep trying, you will lose your own life while calling it love. Sometimes it is not love. Sometimes it is control dressed as care. See clearly. And then there are illusions. These are harder to release than people because sometimes you are not attached to the person at all. You are attached to the version of them you invented. You are attached to potential, to the first days, to the apology you hope will come, to the future you built in your head, to the belief that your suffering will finally be rewarded. But potential is not a place to live. Potential without action is imagination. Potential without consistency is a trap. Potential without respect is a beautiful cage. So stop studying promises and start studying patterns. Promises are easy. Patterns tell the truth. A person's pattern is their real language. A habit's pattern is its real price. Your own pattern is your real level. Watch what repeats. What repeats is what rules. If disrespect repeats, believe it. If neglect repeats, believe it. If distraction repeats, believe it. If laziness repeats, believe it. If self-sabotage repeats, believe it. Not to shame yourself, but to stop pretending. Because detachment is not denial. It is the end of denial. You cannot detach from what drains you while still romanticizing it. Stop calling instability passion. Stop calling endless overwork ambition when it is really avoidance. Stop calling numbing rest. Stop calling people-pleasing kindness when it is fear. Stop calling jealousy love. Stop calling anger strength. Stop calling escape vision. Name things correctly. Once you name them correctly, they lose some of their power. A snake called a necklace is still a snake. Truth matters because clear naming breaks spells. Here is the uncomfortable truth many avoid. Sometimes people stay drained because being drained becomes an excuse not to rise. Exhaustion can become a hiding place. If you are always overwhelmed, you never have to build. If you are always heartbroken, you never have to fully commit to your future. If you are always distracted, you never have to face your lack of discipline. If you are always blaming others, you never have to examine your own choices. Pain can become shelter. Leave the shelter. You were not born only to recover from other people's behavior. You were not born only to explain your wounds. You were not born only to survive your own bad patterns. There is work for your life to do, but that work needs energy. And energy returns when leakage stops. So ask yourself every morning, where is my energy leaking? Through unfinished tasks, through resentment, through poor sleep, through bad food, through the phone in my hand before I even greet the day, through saying yes too fast, through trying to control what cannot be controlled, through chasing someone's approval? Answer truthfully, then close one leak. Not 10, one. The untrained mind wants a huge transformation by tomorrow. The trained mind knows one closed leak each day becomes a different life. Protect the first hour of your morning. Do not hand it to noise. If you begin the day by reacting, you train the mind to be a servant. If you begin by breathing, moving, praying, writing, cleaning, reading, planning, training, you teach the mind to lead. How you begin the day tells your energy who is in charge. So this is the final challenge. Stop waiting for peace to arrive like a gift. Build it like a structure. Guard it like a door. Practice it like a craft. Detach from false urgency. Many things scream only because if they spoke softly, you would ignore them. Drama screams, temptation screams, insecurity screams, marketing screams, ego screams. Wisdom rarely screams, it waits. If you keep reacting to the loudest thing, your life will be led by noise. Learn to hear what is quiet but true. Your soul has been asking for less chaos. Your body has been asking for cleaner habits. Your focus has been asking for stronger boundaries. Your future has been asking for a more disciplined present. And now you know what must happen. Not a dramatic overnight change, not a perfect performance, a steady separation from what weakens you. One pause at a time, one honest no at a time, one closed door at a time, one kept promise at a time, one released burden at a time. This is how peace returns. This is how dignity returns. This is how your mind becomes your own again. And if no one told you this clearly before, hear it now. You do not have to carry everything. You do not have to answer everything. You do not have to save everyone. You do not have to explain your worth to people who profit from doubting it. What drains you does not deserve lifelong access to you. Let it go without hatred. Leave it without theater. Outgrow it without apology. Then walk forward lighter, cleaner, calmer, and stronger. Your peace is too expensive to keep paying for chaos.